Hi, this is Tutor Buxton. Welcome to the series. Today we'd like us to continue with what we've done up to this far. And from the previous session, we had completed, we had talked about cutting trees, and we had also done what we call now, we have started getting the dimensions for the site clearance. So from what has been highlighted, it's clear that this is the exact area in which we need to do our site clearance, but of course it needs to be net, in the sense that all the areas that are not part of this particular plan are supposed to be deducted. So it's supposed to be a net area. So right before we start making our first calculations, I would urge you to please make a subscription so that moving forward you are able to get even more information or more videos as soon as they come in. So we'll go straight to where we left in our previous session, and this is the point. So we are done the length, making adjustments for the external spreads, just like it's shown in this particular plan. So we'll continue. Of course, we've got the length, so we'll continue and get the width for that particular plan. We'll just adopt the same method that we were doing in doing our calculation for the previous item. So this is the length. Then we'll also just use this at the next page to do our width. So we'll calculate the width in this part of the dimension paper called the waist. And for the width, of course, this is our reference plan. You have to refer to it every now and again so that you see what exactly is there for you to measure. So the width, of course, taking into consideration as well for the spreads, we'll take 11. We'll take 11, then we add 11, then we add. Okay, we agreed that we are using millimeters for our calculations at the waist side. So 11,000. Then we'll add 200 and another 200. Okay. Of course, arranging your items is very crucial so that you have work that is able to be interpreted easily. So here we have another 200. So these 200, if you are wondering where they are coming from, this 200 here, one is at this point. Okay, those are walls, but then we've not yet added the spreads in one of them in both sides. So this is the spread that we are talking about in this part. So we have where the one that is pointed is spread 1, and then the other one at the top is also another spread on the opposite side of the extreme side of the wall. So once you have that, then you will also adjust from what we've already calculated. So we get the total of this. Just underline. So 11,400. 11,400 is so the total width is 11,400. But then, as usual, I told that you have to remember to add spreads. Add spreads, and the spreads are also 200 multiplied by 2. Okay, so what does that come to? You can always use the abbreviations that we had learned that you can use to express these items. So in this case, that is another addition of another 400. So once you have the 400, then you add to 11,400. Okay, so let's see what that comes to. That comes to 11,800 as the width. 11,800. So we have let me just able to erase this, and then we have another line there. That's quite well. So we have a total of 11,800 for the width, and the other side we have 17,000 for the length, 17,400. So those are the ones that we have that we are going to use to get our gross area. Of course, then we'll need to deduct from that from those dimensions. Okay, so for us to deduct, then we need to just indicate another title, or we need to show adjustment for the areas. And what that means is when you go straight to the plan that we have, there are those areas that we are going to deduct from the overall area, and they include okay, let me just remove this other one. Okay, so the other one has been removed. So you remember that we've taken all the dimensions right from including these areas. So we need to get the length that is supposed to deduct that particular area. That is one. Also, another area that we need to also deduct from this point is right from this point. Of course, even yes, from that point. Okay. So we need to deduct those two areas, area 1 and area 2. So what we need to do is get those particular dimensions. So one, we can call this area, we can call that area 1, and then we call the other one to be area 2. Okay, this we call this to be area 2, both of which we need to deduct from the overall area that we had measured, from the overall bigger area. So what we do is this. For area 1, this is where we start. Let's get the length for that area 1, and we see what we are subtracting from the other bigger area, so that we have the net dimensions. That said, we'll go straight to making our calculations. So area 1, for the area 1 we'll get the length, we'll also calculate its length, and then we'll also calculate its width. Just by side can still work as well. So at the side we have no, that is not what I needed. Can just have it there. For the length, what do we have? Let's go to the plan and check as well. For the length, you can see we have a total of 0.2 is to the extension, and that is from the first part. We have here 0.2, and then we have the wall is here 200. Okay, we have the wall there 200. We have that first 200 for the spread, then we have this 200 for the wall, and then we have 7,800 is up to this point as well, up to there, and then we have 2,800. 2,800 is supposed to reach the edge of this wall, but we are not supposed to reach there because the spread for that other side is going to occupy that given area. So it means we need to get this total, and then we add the 2,800, but then we subtract 200 for it. The 200 is for this particular spread. So we add what we've talked about. So it's 200 for that length. We'll add 200, and then we go next to 7,800, another 200, 7,800, another 200, and then now we go to 200, then 2800. Of course, we less 200 from the 2800 so that we see what is remaining. 200, then we add 2800. Okay, then we subtract 200 from that sum. Okay, of course, you don't forget to make your calculations as clear as possible. For whoever is following up, it's easier that way and more presentable. If you are also doing this for exam purposes, your arrangement also matters so much in terms of how you are expressing your work. Okay, you underline that. Once you've underlined, then you get your total in terms of the figures that you need. So 7800, this is 8000, 8200. 8200 plus 2800 is supposed to be the total. So we get that sum of what we need. Okay, 200, 7800, that is 8000, 8200, 8200, then we add 2800, so that comes to 11,000. So once you have your 11,000, then you need to subtract that 200 which we had talked about, so that you adjust it to be net. Okay, so you have 11,000. Then of course make your read, and we've seen from the plan, and see how that comes. Okay, I don't know why that is running away. We have it there, and then we less the spread for the other side, the one that we have seen, and the spread is 200. So it's 11,000 less 200. We see what we come with. It's 10,000, 10,800. Okay, so of course remember to underline this at all times. When you underline that, then you see you have 10,800. That is the length. And then of course let's do the width. Let's see what we have. The width, the plan is here, which is always your reference. For the width, we can see we have this 200. Actually, let me just erase these other ones so that we can see that properly. So which are the dimensions? Dimension 1 is the spread that is here. Okay, if you can just use also a better annotation. Okay, so that is the spread. After the spread, then we go to the next bit. The next bit is this 2300. Okay, that also need to be added. And of course, even before that, you need to just, yeah, the second after the spread, then we have this particular wall. You have that particular wall, that is 2, and then you also have this one to deal with. So it's the spread, the wall 200, and then the part, that particular width to be 2,300. Of course, you also need to subtract 200 for this spread, which is not going to be part of it, because it's going to be the area that should be cleared, that is for the larger area, or for the larger dimension of the plan at large. So we have the spread 200, then 2,300, and then this one here. So we carry out that calculation as well. Okay, so So let's cover that now. So the better way would be to work from here. So the spread is 200, and then we have the wall. Wall is 200. Okay, wall is 200. So I was just looking into that calculation for the first bit, that is now area 1, and I'm noticing that there is a bit that is left out, that is for the other spread. So that means we need to add another 200 at the top here. So we need to add another 200 for the spread, which we didn't take into consideration. So that is going to be, the bit that I'm talking about is this first point. It was left out, and then we have the wall at 200, then we have 7800, 200, and then 2800, and of course we less this part there. So the correct working would be we add that, so that this one is going to be when we add all these. Okay, this line is misplaced. It's supposed to be below the 2800 at that point. So this is supposed to be 11,200. That is the correct working, 11,200. So once we have that, then we subtract the 200, so the difference is supposed to be 11,000. So the correct working would be 11,000 for the length. And also quick look into the other part for the width. Gives us 2,300 plus 200 for the wall plus 200 for the spread. Spread is here, then wall is here at number 2, then we have this dimension at number 3, and then we need to subtract this part here for the spread of the previous main area. Okay, so what we do is we add those ones that are in that part. So it's 200 for the spread plus 200. Okay, so the spread is 200 on that part, and then we add 200 for the wall, and then we add 2,300 for the bigger part, and then we less another spread down here, so we can get this total. Just also make sure you underline so that you arrange your work properly. So that becomes 2,400 plus 2,300 is 2,700. Okay, 2,700. Let's see. Okay. So once we have that, this bit just need to take it out and have a line properly at that point. Then we less the 200 also on the other side. Okay, when we let's less this 200, the same 200. And that becomes 2,500. So this other line is also misplaced, so that our line is supposed to be here and another one supposed to be here. Then when we do the calculation, 2,700 minus 200 is supposed to give you 2,000. 2500 for the width of that particular side. Okay, so that having been said, yeah, that is 2500. So we go to our second area, area 2, and area 2 will also do our adjustments and see what we have for that particular part. Okay, so that is area 1. Then we go to area 2. So we calculate the dimensions for area 2. Of course, we do our length the way we've calculated for the other one, and then we also do our width properly the way we've done for the other bit. So our reference still remains to be the plan. You go to the plan and check what do you have for the particular length. So the one that we need is from if I was able to just draw a line would show us that what we need is going straight from going straight in this particular manner from that part, and then down to this other bit, that particular manner. Okay, so it means we have what we are calculating in that particular part is supposed to be at that area within that given length. So the length that you have, it's 3600 coming from the surface here, I mean from the side of the internal wall, the top face. Okay, and when I say that, I mean it's coming from here, the 3600, and then it's ending within this particular part, okay, where my cursor is pointing, where that dot has been placed. So once you have that clearly shown, then 3600, for us to now calculate that particular length, what do we do? 3600 is including this, it's including this particular part, and we are adding another same dimension. So it's the same as subtracting 0.2 for this spread and adding 0.2 for the spread at the top. So it's a plus and a minus of the same figure. We're supposed to leave us with the same figure of 3600. So that gives us the length. That gives us the length of 3600 as we've calculated. Then we'll go straight to calculating the width for that particular plan. The width now is supposed to be right from just make another drawing. It's supposed to be right from there to the other part as well, and the other part I mean from here upwards. Okay, so you are able to see that there are spreads that are been subtracted on either side. That is, a spread has going to be subtracted here, and another spread is going to be subtracted at this particular bit. So we'll take the 2800 is within the wall, so it's 2800, and then we less the spreads on either side. So that is the correct working at that point. So this is how we'll do it. 2000 at this point, it's 2800, and of course we'll less 2 times 200. Those are now the spreads. Of course, you need to show you are working also in that order. So we less the spread, and when we less these, of course, the other one, for you to just show it's into finality, you can just underline so that you have that in order. You can always make underline, double underline, to show that those are the final figures that you are carrying forward. just underline them double. So the same case for this, that is also there. So the 2800 that is on the other side, we need to subtract 200 the way we've indicated, 200 times 2, so that is an adjustment of 400. That brings us to 2400. Okay, so let's see what we have. That gives us 2400 for the width. So that is now the end of the calculations for what we have in terms of what we need to express in our area for the clearance, because it's supposed to be net area. Therefore you need to adjust any other item that is supposed to be that is not supposed to be at that particular point. Okay, so that is the concept that I was trying to bring into explanation. So we already gotten this. Therefore the next step is for us to enter these dimensions into our taking off paper. Okay, that is the next bit, and that is quite simple and straightforward. Of course you need to remember your rules and refer to them as well. So this one was supposed to be that way. Of course now those are the dimensions to be entered, and it's clear that they are shown there. So we'll go to entering our dimensions. And how do we go about that? So we'll start with the bigger one. Of course the bigger one here, it was the 17.4. that is now our length in that particular place. 17.40. Remember to always do two decimal places. The width for that part is 11.8 in meters. Yes, that is always have to be remembered at all times, because those are the dimensions that we need to take into consideration. So let's see what we have. So the next is for us to underline those particular parts. We need to underline properly here. Okay, once you've underlined, that is complete. Then you go to the next part, which is entering the other dimensions which are left. Okay, and the other dimensions left is now for us to do a deduction. So how do you enter when you need to now deduct the particular areas that are supposed to be subtracted from this particular overall dimension? So you can always, as long as you've indicated, you can always indicate that you are making adjustment. Okay, so in our indication for the adjustments, just show that at this particular point, then you need to deduct the items that are following, items that are coming next. For example, just indicate. That is one of our abbreviations that we had already learned in our previous sessions. So that means the parts that we are entering next are supposed to be deducted from the main one. Okay, as long as you are communicating, then everything should be okay. So 11.00, 11.00, and then we also the width for that particular part is 2.50. Yes, always have to indicate it properly, and of course never forget to underline as well. We'll underline that also just in a few. And then the area 2 that is also supposed to be subtracted is length is 3.60, and then the width is 2.40. okay, so that is what is supposed to be done at that particular part. So we need to underline those two so that we indicate properly what we are talking about. And of course, even from your side, it's the waste calculation is supporting what you are entering, so that everything is kept, communication is kept properly in terms of that coverage. So we go to indication of what we are looking for. In terms of what is supposed to be added. So we go to that point and then we underline these two. That is one for that particular area, and then that is two. You remember to bracket, then you give your description. Can bracket, and then you indicate your description just by the side. Okay, description you always borrow from the rules of measurement, those that we had already covered also in our previous coverage. So we are doing the site clearance. So this is what's supposed to be described. So we've done it in square meters by entering the two figures, and then okay, this is the reference, but then this is what's supposed to be in the description. So you go to your description and input what exactly is supposed to be at that particular part. So you can state clear bushes, including scrubs, grab up their roots, cut and grab up their roots and their risings and dispose. Okay, so this the same description that we've gained with the same quantity that we've calculated for the site clearance is supposed to be also the same dimension that we are going to use in the oversite excavation. And it's because the oversite excavation is also supposed to be done in square meters. So that means when we do it in square meters, then we need to ease our work, because this is now the essence of the takeoff. To ease our work, then we are supposed to do the same thing in terms of we can bracket it so that descriptions are different for independent items, but then the quantities that we've calculated can be used for both of them separately, or and either of them is still going to be correct. So the next description that we're also including here is oversite excavation, or you can indicate strip topsoil, average depth of 150 millimeters. Okay, and store in spoil heaps, at a distance of not exceeding 100 meters from the construction site. So you simply state what you're supposed to. You simply state exactly every other item, every work that is going to be done in within that particular calculations that we've taken into consideration. So that having been said, of course, I mentioned that this deduction is supposed to be for adjustment of what we have here. Okay, of course you are not supposed to show with the arrows, but you are supposed to, when you are now doing your calculations, then these two are supposed to be subtractions of what is on the other side, what is at the top, the 17.4 and 11.4. now when you are doing your squaring. So let's see from our taking off list that we've done, what we have covered and what not. So we've covered cutting trees, we've also covered site clearance, we've also covered oversite excavation, both of which are supposed to be done in square meters, and we've already shown the calculations from what we've covered. So in the upcoming session, we are going to move to the next item, because we just want to cover them bit by bit, step by step, showing all the requirements that are supposed to be taken into consideration, so that as soon as we are done with this portion, then you will be sure that any other item that you're supposed to cover, you've got the basic concept, and you've covered it in the proper manner that it's supposed to be covered in, including the proper explanation of what is entailed and so on. So in the upcoming session, we are supposed to cover we are supposed to go to the trench excavation, rock excavation, and so on. So that is supposed to drop very soon. So from what we've covered, it's for any question that you might be having, just drop it at the comment. I'll be able to keep answering, so that it's clearly understood in terms of what is supposed to be done in every element that we are covering. I want to say thank you so much for watching up to this point, and just before you leave, remember to make a subscription to the channel, so that you don't miss any information, that any video that is coming to is going to be dropped as soon as possible, until we've covered all these items. So thank you very much, have a great time till we meet again in the next session. Bye bye.